Hello. Yeah, there's a thing I need to talk about, and you've already read it in the title of this video. Yes, it is true. I was diagnosed, aka tested positive for the coronavirus or COVID-19. I'm still in quarantine right now, and today is the most energy that I've had through like this entire time. I finally did my makeup since like 84 years. So yeah, I thought I would just like make a video and talk about it while I'm still going through it, like for the sake of documenting. First of all, how I found out about it, I basically woke up one morning and I felt like I had got hit by a train, or like I felt like I had fallen down a flight of stairs and my body was really sore. And I kind of just figured I was stressed, because sometimes that happens to me when I'm like really stressed out. My body just decides to shut down and it's like, you need a break. So I figured that's what was happening because I was going through a lot. I was moving, I was cleaning, I was working, stuff like that. I texted my work, I called into work, and I just took a day to rest. I did nothing. The next day, I felt pretty much exactly the same. Like I was still feeling like body aches and my head was just pounding. Like anytime I moved, it hurt so much. So I was like, you know what? I guess I should probably go to the doctor because my stress doesn't usually last for 2 days. So I called the doctor first of all, because you don't want to just walk in there with symptoms. And they go through like the standard COVID list and they ask me, do you have a fever? Do you have a runny nose? Do you have a cough? And I said no to all of those. I had some nasal congestion that felt like allergies, but it wasn't like I couldn't breathe. It was just very minor. So they were like, okay, come into the doctor. So I tell the doctor, like, I've been sore, I'm not feeling good, what's the tea? And he's like, we're testing you for COVID. I'm like, okay, cool. So he gives me the nose swab, which, by the way, is not a good experience and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. The doctor said, this isn't gonna hurt.
And you said no. The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Yeah, that was a lie. That was a bold-faced lie, doctor. That like kind of hurt. It was super uncomfortable. And then afterwards, my nose would not stop bleeding and I went to the hospital because I thought I was gonna die. But that's another story. So anyways, I called into work the rest of the days. Like 2 days had passed and I just hadn't gone back to work because I was still feeling sore and tired. And I get this call, which was like a super unusual call. First of all, she's like, hello, this is health services calling. How are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing okay. She's like, all right, first we're gonna do a 911 check-in and make sure you're okay and you don't need emergency assistance. I'm like, okay. She's like, so can you breathe right now? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, no difficulties with that? No. She's like, all right, are you feeling confused or lost or in a daze? I'm like, I don't think so. She's like, all right, we're gonna go ahead. So you were recently tested for COVID. And I'm like, oh my God. She's like, yeah, so you were tested positive. We received your test results. We have your results here. And then we went on to talk about like where I had been for the past few days, when exactly my symptoms started, everyone that I had been with, everyone that I had worked with. And then they go on to tell everyone that I was in contact with. So the appropriate people were tested, and thank goodness everyone was negative. I didn't pass it on to anyone, so that was good. But yeah, that leads me to my tips that I would recommend anyone that is going out like into the world and not just staying home and isolating, because I was working and I would go to the grocery store to get essentials, and I also had to move. So I had to move all my stuff into a building. We had to rent a U-Haul. There were so many places that I could have contracted the virus. So if you are still somewhat living like an active lifestyle and going to a few different places, or you're still working, definitely recommend that even if you don't have most of the symptoms on that list that they ask you about COVID, like still go to the doctor, talk to your doctor, call health services, or just take it upon yourself to self-isolate. Because I honestly thought, because like the first thing they ask you is a fever, and I thought you had to have a fever. You don't have to have a fever. You can literally just be sore and have COVID. So just be really careful with that, and also have the necessities that you need on hand, like in your home always. Because as soon as I got the call, they were like, all right, now you are legally not allowed to exit your apartment. They were like, you're not even allowed to go in the hallway. You're not allowed to go in the lobby. I luckily have a balcony, so I was allowed to go on the balcony as long as I'm 6 feet away from my neighbors. But yeah, so make sure you have enough groceries that if someone calls you today and they're like, you need to self-isolate, you're not screwed. Now you can use Instacart and stuff like that, and I did that because I needed snacks. So I would definitely recommend using Instacart if you are self-isolating, because they can just leave the stuff outside your door. So yeah, those are just the two things that I would recommend, is just being really careful and having everything you need just in case. Now to go into what it was like in quarantine. I'm still in quarantine right now. I still haven't left my house in about a week, I'd say. I think it's been a week. Like, do the things that you enjoy doing, and like, don't just do things because you think that you're supposed to do them. Like, things that I didn't do was like, I didn't try to stick to a schedule or a routine. And if you seriously need that to stay sane, like, that's good. But I wanted to like really listen to my body and listen to what I actually wanted to do. I also started keeping a journal because these are the weirdest times. Like, who can say they've lived through a pandemic? Seriously. So keep a journal, because it also just helps you like put into perspective how you're feeling. And some days I would feel so much better once I journaled, because I would be like, this sucks. But then I would write down all the things that I did, and they were nice things, and they were things that like I was grateful for. And I would look at what I did today, and I'm like, you know what? Even though I'm in quarantine, I did this and this and this. And that's pretty cool. My journal entries were super weird because one day it would be like, I woke up this morning, I had a great day, I ate a nutritious breakfast, I took a bath, like I meditated. And then the next day it would be like, I'm bored, I'm depressed, I watched the Harry Potter where Dumbledore died, I'm sad, I did this today, and I did this today. And then the next day it would be like, I'm super happy and excited for the day, I have so much planned. Yeah, just doing a lot of self-care stuff. Like, I was taking nice baths and just like watching the shows I wanted to watch but never had time, and coloring and stuff like that, and talking to my friends, talking to people on the phone. And I feel so much better after like having those days where I did all those things, because in regular life I never really took time to do that. Like, I always was just like on to the next task, and if I worked, I would go to work, and then after work, it's like, I'm tired, so I'm just gonna eat and go to bed. And honestly, that's why I just wanted to make this an adventure and a learning experience, and just get in touch with myself. So yeah, that's what I did in quarantine. I'm feeling better now. Like, this is the most energized I've felt in a while. My body's still recovering. Like, I'm still feeling quite fatigued. The soreness is kind of gone, which is amazing, but I feel like it's kind of like just a slow and steady recovery of getting my energy back. Yeah, anyways, that's my experience with COVID-19. I'm gonna be allowed to leave the house in a couple days here, so that's pretty good. I'll probably go back to work and just be really careful and take all the precautions, wear a mask and wear gloves, because yeah, this is crazy. If you are experiencing any symptoms, please hop on that, even if it seems minor. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Can you please thumbs up my video, because it totally helps my channel growth. It would be cool if my channel grew, but all right, thank you for watching. Have a good day.